Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. Joe Davis. I'm joined by Steve Eddington from the Homestead and Zermatt Resorts.
Good to
Steve,
see you, Joe.
To the show.
Thanks a lot. Good to be here.
Well, we just heard a little bit about some of the fun things that are kind of going on up at Zermatt, but I'm excited to hear some more. So tell me all about what's going on at
I think Mark said it all.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Then the interview's over.
He gets me so fired up. You know, we have for a long time believed that our resorts, Zermatt and the Homestead, reflect a special physiological and psychological ambiance you can't find anywhere else in the world.
I agree.
I mean, Midway itself is such a delightful place to be.
It's quiet, it's quaint.
It is, and it's referred to and has been historically as the Valley of the Healing Hearts.
Oh, is that right? I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's the ancient Indians used to live there, and they would, in many cases, migrate there for the very specific purpose of being able to use the geothermic waters that are natural to that area. And we just happen to have one of those wonderful geothermic features at our crater over at the Homestead.
I didn't realize you had that there.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You got to come over, Joe. It's, it's a volcanic type of a structure, but inside of it is this beautiful geothermic water. It's 96 degrees, 365 days out of the year. People come from all over the world for the very specific purpose of healing. It's a wonderful thing to see people from Europe and from the eastern states and from all over coming there, actually scheduling their vacations so they can be able to get in those geothermic waters for the purpose of what they believe will heal them and make them feel better. In fact, I'm going in there myself tonight with my sweetheart and some good friends from England. And we're going to enjoy those geothermic waters. So Midway is the Valley of the Healing Hearts, and we're delighted to have Mark and Vicki Sorensen helping in the creation of the National Institute of Health and Fitness to be right there for the specific purpose of helping people to become healthier, to gain health and fitness education, and to lose weight.
Right. Well, you know, it reminds me a lot of Banff up in Canada.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly what I always feel like when I think of that area. It's you know, that European sort of feel. And then, you know, my only experience with the hot springs is up in Banff. But I can tell you from my own personal experience, I get a little bit of achy legs. In fact, they hurt every night. But when you get in that water, and that hot water, and it has there's something effervescent about it, I'm going to say. That's the feeling I have anyway, that just seems to do some real repair.
There's a combination of things, and you're spot on, Joe. There's a combination of things. It's the heat of the water, and it's the chemicals within the water. Yeah, and so as you soak in there for a few minutes, you begin to feel a soothing that comes very naturally. I don't know all the chemical components, and I don't know the physical.
There's got to be some minerals and things.
There are, and I need to learn those things, but I've learned from my friends that come there often that it's a special place to be, and they certainly feel the therapeutic and healing powers of it. So you got to come over and share it with me.
Sometimes it doesn't really matter what it is, just that it works. That's kind of the more important part, right? Just the fact that you're going to feel better and having that experience is enough that it doesn't really matter why. It's just that it does work and it makes you feel better. But clearly there's some added benefit of having this, you know, the food and the right attitude and some learning about taking care of your body that clearly adds to that. And those are things I suppose you really do need to know.
Well, and that's exactly right. And that's the reason why Mark and Vicki Sorensen are with us as our founders and directors of the National Institute of Health and Fitness, because their expertise in that exactly what you've just described. They have a history of being able to help people become healthier. And as we began to think about what we wanted to do at our resorts in amplifying the Valley of the Healing Hearts in Midway, we decided, well, let's go to the pros. Let's go to the guys who really know what they're doing. And so we had the opportunity of meeting Mark and Vicki and are delighted that they have chosen our resorts to come and share their expertise. And so as people come there, they're going to lose weight. They're going to become fit. And they're going to be educated in health and fitness. And those are the things that people can anticipate. We're excited about that because we want to be able to have the opportunity to influence people's lives in a special way. And we can do that at Zermatt and at the Homestead.
Well, it seems like a pretty happy marriage of you know, people and skill set there, and having that environment that really you can't beat. I'm interested to hear some of the other things that go on at Zermatt. I've stayed there a couple of times. In fact, anytime I was headed back to the valley and I've been snowed in, you're the first place I call because, you know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you know, typically can get that direction, and if I'm going to stay up here, I might as well stay at the best place. My grandfather always had a saying that was, "You'll never be disappointed if you always buy the best." And so,
correct.
Yeah, and I kind of tend to believe that. So you're the first place I call when I'm going to stay up in the mountains at all. But I've had so many different experiences there. I came up there once for a group of Angel Foundation meeting where people were deciding what things to back, what companies to back. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty neat experience. But you have all kinds of opportunities for meetings and other stuff. Kind of give me a little rundown of what typically goes on at both Zermatt and Homestead.
Pleased to do that. Over at the Homestead, of course, it's a relatively new resort. It was completed in 2006, and it's built with the with the older Swiss type of architecture, Austrian architecture, German, Swiss, and so it has a special feeling about it. And it's all part of the Midway Swiss influence. The people who migrated to Midway were sent up there by Brigham Young because they were people who lived in Switzerland. The Wasatch Back just happens to be the Swiss Alps of Utah. So they're there, and so Zermatt was built to amplify the Swiss heritage of the area. And that's the way that the hotel looks, that's the way that the well-appointed rooms look. We have 40,000 square feet, if you can imagine that,
wow,
of conference space. We can be able to fit anywhere from small groups from 5 to 6, all the way up to 500 to 800.
Yeah, the group that I came up with, the Angel Foundation, that was an enormously large group. And the thing that I was really amazed about was that, you know, typically when you go to a meeting like that, you never get fed well. It's never, you know, really yummy food. It's always, seems like it's always like chicken cordon bleu or something. Mm-hmm. Boy, was that not the experience at all that I had there. The food was absolutely out of this world.
I'm glad to hear that you had that experience, because that's the experience that everyone has when they come there. Joy Pesner, who you'll meet a little bit later, is our chief chef there, and he's absolutely amazing. He and his team, Teo and the rest of the gang, provide some of the most wonderful food. But the thing that makes it even much better is the quality of service that so many of our people are able to provide there on a very consistent basis. So you're right, the food is wonderful, it's well served, and people are delighted to be able to not just eat of it, but be able to be served by the great people there.
Do you spend quite a little bit of time there yourself?
I'm there.
You're there all the time?
Yeah, my sweetheart Cheryl and I live in the area. We've been up there. We actually moved from Houston, Texas. We've lived in the area now for a year, and we're there. And so I walk those hallowed halls of Zermatt and the Homestead all the time. The gang probably doesn't like see me coming, but I enjoy seeing them, and it's great to be there.
And we share one thing in common. Our spouses. You said your sweetheart is Sherilyn as well, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, same as mine. So
well,
yeah,
good.
A little thing you and I share in common, but. I think it's tremendous to have somebody that, you know, that not only is, you know, the owner of something that obviously loves it, but to be there and be part of that all the time and make sure that it's, you know, up to snuff, and it comes through. You can see that, I think.
Well, it's a special experience for us. You know, while we have this lovely resort, Zermatt, on one side of the street, which focuses upon a Swiss heritage. We have the Homestead on the other side of the street, which we've just completed doing many renovations there, refreshing all of our 121 hotel rooms.
How do you decide which one to stay in
when you're there? It's hard to do that because on one side you got Swiss heritage, on the other side you've got tradition, and,
yeah.
and you've got this wonderful Americana. And so the Homestead, we're refreshing it as we promised people we would do when we began there. We're actually completing our golf course. We've changed the golf course from the Homestead Golf Course to the Crater Springs Golf Course, so that it amplifies and brands more the crater that we have there, in addition to being able to amplify and utilize some of the geothermic water that we have so naturally there in new streams, springs, and waterfalls. So you got to come over and test drive our new golf course.
I clearly need to come out and check it out.
Yes, sir.
You have a new golf course at 18 holes? Or?
18 holes, beautiful.
Wow.
Now the golf course itself has been there for many years, and it's the pride of Midway. So many farmers and so many neighbors all all lump their land together in helping to create this unbelievable 18-hole golf course, a championship golf course, wow. 7,200 yards. It's a great, you have a panoramic view of every hole no matter where you're at.
Did you set the par there? Is that you?
I didn't mess with that. No, I left it up to the pros.
But I think you get out every now and then and play a little.
I try to get out periodically, yeah. So come on over and play.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to challenge you to a game sometime. I don't know my handicap anymore. I know it's not good, but perhaps we could play sometime.
Well, I know my handicap. It's very handicapped.
That's awesome. Well, hey, Steve, we sure appreciate you being on the show. We're excited to talk more with you guys about all the things that are going on at Zermatt and at Homestead. Tell me the websites for both of them. I'm sure you know them.
Yeah, the National Institute of Health and Fitness, NIHF.com, and ZermattResorts.com. And we encourage people to link up with us, especially right now as we begin the National Institute of Health and Fitness, which begins on June the 11th. We have several of Mark and Vicky's former NIFers, as well as other good friends that we have just made that are going to be joining us for an average of 4 weeks at a time. And so we want to encourage people to come up and join with us and have a health, wellness, and fitness and nutritional experience.
Well, it seems like the price was certainly right for it. I mean, gosh, you typically spend that much on a room somewhere, and you get all the benefit of getting healthy with it. That's
exactly right. You know, focus not just upon price, but the focus is upon a price, an introductory price, so that people can be able to come, enjoy, and find out about us. And be able to have a health experience. We're excited about that.
I would venture to guess that once somebody comes up there just one time, and I'm guessing you have a lot of this as far as repeat business, but once you come up once, you're hooked. You find a way to come up every year at least, you know, for a couple of days to get away from the hustle and bustle of downtown.
What you just said is exactly right. We have many of our friends who come up on a regular basis just to get out of the smog in Salt Lake City.
That's right.
Or to come up in the fresh air at 5,800 feet is quite an experience for them. Cheryl and I chose Zermatt and the Homestead in Midway for that very specific purpose. We all have choices in life, and we chose to live there because of the things that we just described. Cheryl and I can just step out of our front door. We can walk for miles. We can either walk for 1 mile or we can walk for 20 miles. And,
wow.
and where else in the world can you do that in the beautiful, pristine Wasatch Mountains and have that experience? You just can't.
I guess I should ask you how long you've been there, too. I didn't bother, but tell me.
No, we acquired Zermatt in August of 2010, and then the Homestead just a couple of months after that. Cheryl and I have lived there personally since January of last year.
Wow.
And so it's been a great experience for us to get to know the people of Midway, many of our good friends over here in Park City.
Well, I'm sure many of them are looking forward to coming over and getting to know you some more. So.
Well, we want them to. We need all the friends we can get, and so we welcome everyone to come over and join us.
Appreciate you being on the show.
Joe, it's great to meet you.
You bet, Steve.
It's good to spend time with you.
Well, thank you. And we'll have you back here in just a couple minutes on the Mountain Morning Show. We'll see you in just a minute.